All right. Okay, I know you guys can't hear the music yet. Put on these headphones. Start recording. Cool. Awesome. Hey guys. Let's get our little to-do list up here. Let's switch to that. All right. I forget where we were. I haven't streamed in like a week. I said I was gonna do it every day. we're back on the daily, almost daily schedule. Um, what did we get done last? The checkpoints. I remember we did that. Sounds good. Thanks, Maggie. Um, yeah, we made them spawn and they die if they hit the wall. All cool stuff. Oh, I remember I left a note. Make wave-based system. I think that's what I wanted to do next. So they all spawn at once. Instead of doing what they do now, which is so let's run this. Let's see what we got from last time. And if we look right here, the camera follows this little guy. And everybody just spawns here as these other guys go through checkpoints. And they die if they hit the wall, so maybe I just won't do that part. Our lines are still working, our checkpoints are working. So, alright, he's a goner. But besides that, we did a decent amount. I don't know why these guys aren't moving anymore. Oh, it's because I clicked away from the screen. Makes sense. But yeah, the more you drive, the more of these are going to spawn, so it's like exponentially growing. Let's stop that and figure out a spawning system. Which honestly isn't hard. I don't think. What do I want? I think I want like waves where it's like wave 1. All the cars start right here. And you'll see them all drive their own little path. And then like they reset. So we just gotta work on that resetting point where all the cars start back at 0 and their scores reset for that next round. But we don't actually have to destroy the cars, we just have to change their positions. But maybe it would just be easier to just destroy everything and start over. I think. Because if we destroy everything and start over, then we lose all of their brains. So I think that instead just teleporting the ones that we want to keep back to the start is what we need to do and reset their score. And then spawn in the new ones based off of those. So if we want to keep like the top 5, we teleport them back to the start and reset their position and rotation. So if they accidentally flip over or something, we're gonna have to reset that as well. So basically we want to get the rotation and position of this car, which is this. So these numbers right here. So rotation is 0, 0, 0, I think. Yeah. And then this is our position that we want to start at. I think the spawned in cars start at a slightly different spot. Like I made it exactly 22 and 0. But yeah. So where was I going to do that? I just want to see what functions we have. That is a different screen. I want this window. That's better. Okay. Nice. So on the car, this is where we control the reproduction. I should mark that. Right now, this is our reproduction. It's not really good, but this is where it's happening. So I'm just probably going to change this little section. So instead of reproducing when the score is greater than 1, we're going to reproduce every somewhat seconds, and that's going to be our wave. And I don't think each car should be in charge of this anymore. Instead, the scorekeeper. Did I make this? Yes. So instead, this scorekeeper should be in charge of resetting the game. So something we're gonna need to figure out is how to set a timer. And I think there's an enumerator that you could use in Unity somehow. But I don't think I actually stored all of the scores in this double. So let's not hard code anything. So this 10 is how many cards we're gonna have. So I'm going to I'm gonna not hard code that in. So I'm gonna make it a variable. So I'm gonna make int, make it public so that way we can see it from the debugger. Int, total cars, we'll call it. And that's gonna be 10. Now instead of saying 10, we say total cars. Simple stuff so far. So before the first frame is updated, is this where we want to make all the cars spawn the first time? Maybe. How do you use functions in C? Could I put a new function down here and use it up here? I'm not sure. I do not know. Okay, so in our scorekeeping function, let's just figure out how to store these scores, because right now we're just printing them out, I believe. Looking great, thanks. So right now I'm going to try to store the scores from every car in a list of scores. But I remember what the problem was last time. We don't know which car is which. So maybe when we create all the cars, we want to give them an ID. And that seems like a good way to do this. So public. Can you do like a prefab object? I don't know. No. Game object. Car. Prefab. I already have one of those, so I'm just gonna use that again. So now we're gonna, when the game starts, I want to make 10 cars. That's what my goal is right now. Let's see if we could do that. So right here we have a reproduction thing, so it's gonna have to be something like this. Game object. So I had it going to child, which will help us later. So there's a bunch of things that are different from the other thing. So let's see how this works. If we go to our scorekeeper and we just spawn in car prefab, and we could call it child, I guess. And let's turn off this game object before we start. So if we take this car and turn it off, it's gone in Unity's mind. But if we start it, okay, compiler errors. What did I do wrong? Error. A field initializer cannot reference the non-static field scorekeeper.totalcars. Scorekeeper.totalcars. Okay. What is our problem here? What line does it say? Scorekeeper line 9. Oh, total cars. Why? Maybe this has to say total cars too? No, that looks wrong. Okay. Public. Is there a const in? Okay, that worked. I think. What other errors are there? What are the other errors? Oh, it's probably because I destroyed the car, yeah. So let's start. So the camera still starts there. Alright. I wanted to see a car spawn in somewhere. Oh, well, actually, that won't spawn anything yet because on the score keep function, which is on our... Where did I put it? Speedometer? I thought I had a canvas earlier. Did I delete stuff? I am confusion. I thought I had a canvas over here that I put the script on. Maybe I didn't press save yesterday. Or not yesterday, the other day. That could be possible. What to do instead? I think... I can't. I'll just make a new one. And then add component. And it was the scorekeeper script. I could just drag it in there. Okay. So this is what the problem was. It wasn't even existing. So this should probably give us an error, right? Yeah. A lot of errors. Object reference not set. Okay, so now we want to go to our prefabs. And our car 02 prefab, we're putting it in there. So now when we run this, we should have seen a car spawn in, but it didn't. Okay. What is going on? Did I not press? Well, I don't have to save this. So we got car prefab. Oh, okay, didn't save. Okay. Let's save that and now let's try it. Oh, cool, it worked. So this car is not the one that's attached to our camera. It's a unique car, and now it died. So that is good. I actually don't know how to get the camera back on that car yet. That's a new problem. But what we could do now is just do that 10 times if we wanted to get 10 cars. So how do for loops work in C#? Let's look at this. Oh, let me... Okay. So we want for loop in C#. or Unity, whichever one. Yay, yeah. Didn't know you were watching that moment. All right, C# for loop. For statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. For in I equals 3. Okay, that's the same as what I'm used to. So what this basically means is, we can actually just copy that, save us some typing. This loop will happen 5 times because it starts at 0 and it counts by 1. That's what the plus plus means. So it's adding 1 to I every single time it does this loop. And then it does it until I is less than 5. So it starts at 0, prints out I, which would be 0, goes back up to the top, adds 1 to it, prints out 1, goes back up to the top. So that's how a for loop works. So basically, if we want to do something a bunch of times, well, I already started typing it, but we just paste all that. And now we could put our spawner object in there, the line that spawns it in here. So now we will get 10 cars, but we won't know that there are 10 cars because they're all going to spawn in the same exact spot without collisions on. So it's just going to look like 1 car. But I think that this is 10 cars. I don't know how to make them separate. Yeah, there they go. I don't want them to die. Wait, was that only 2 cars? It looked like it was only 2 cars, but I didn't change the number to 10 anyway, so maybe that's why. Let's change this to total cars so we can control how many cars we make up here. And let's see what that does. Oh, we can look over here to see how many cars there are. Okay. So it says there's a bunch of cars. And if we just back them up over here, I don't know why 2 of them behave differently every time. There should be a ton of cars in there. Well, they all died, except for 2. But yeah, apparently there's 2 inside this car. Oh, I don't know what these orbs are that are like appearing. Where's our car? Okay. So this trail thing is going to be a problem if we have a lot of cars, because it's going to cause a lot of particles to be created when they're driving. And that's probably what was giving us issues before. You see this cloud of particles behind it that's following it? That's like the dust trail. So you can see it better if I get closer. So that, yeah, like it's coming out of the back of the car and then expanding. That's what the smoke is. So it doesn't look like much when you don't have it activated. It's just like a little tiny smoke trail. But that takes a lot of resources to simulate that for so many different cars. So what we're gonna do now is get the score of all these cars. Because right now I'm controlling them all with the same commands, with the same keyboard inputs, but then we're gonna wanna give them all their own random inputs. And that could be the next step too. Where was I? Here. Okay, so we're making 10 cars. They're all starting in the same spot. And now we should be able to get their scores in this loop down here. So instead of just printing out the score of the cars, we want to put it in this list, the scores list. So scores, so because this is a for each loop, I don't know how you get I guess you could just do it manually, but I think there's a better way to do this. So I'm just going to do it the manual way, which is saying int I equals 0. And then I'm going to look up, see if there's a better way after this, but this is just the easy way to do it. So instead of saying debug car.score, we're going to say scores of I equals car.score. So now, every time this loop happens, the car score is going to get stored in this array at the point I. And right now the point I is 0. So the first time that this loop goes through, it's going to put it in the 0 spot. But then we want to add 1 to that, so that way the next time it puts it in the next spot. And I'll show you what the list looks like after this, so it makes a little bit more sense. So we say I plus plus, and that adds 1 to I every time this loop happens. But if we want to look at where they're going to get stored, we could see it in the canvas right over here. It is this list here. So you see element 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's what I stands for. I is each of these numbers. So element 0 is I of 0. So if we look here and we run this, we should start to see scores in there. I think they all start off at 0, so that we won't see it until we drive through the first checkpoint. So let's see. Let's test this out. Run. Okay, scores are still there. We drive. Okay, I don't think the first one counts. Okay. I don't know if that's working or not working, or if something else isn't working. So all the scores are being stored in the score. But what about on cars? What's cars doing? So if the score is greater than 1, score equals score minus 1. So the score should become 1 at some point. I don't know what I changed here. Oh, I did. I added that word. Okay. Squad. Squad up. The Goon Squad's here. Wow. So right now, I was just about to do something. I was trying to figure out why this is all zeros. I'm trying to get the score of all the cars when they spawn in, but for some reason it stays 0. Don't know why. So we have all these cars and we have a ton of errors. Maybe that has something to do with it. Object reference not set to instance of object. Scorekeeper 30. Scorekeeper line 30. That's in the middle somewhere. So line 30 is nothing. Oh, scorekeeper 30. Line 30. So car.score doesn't work? Why you know like that? Object reference not set to an instance of an object. I don't know what that means. Let's figure it out. Okay. So we're getting the component car. Car.score. This was working before. Why you no work now? Find objects with the tag car. Oh, are they not being tagged as car? That is it. No, the prefab is a car. Every time I think I figure it out, something else. Alright, let's stare at this for one moment. So what are we debugging here? It's kind of a mess because it's all coming out at once. So we're debugging 11. Why 11? Is it because of this car up here? I could delete him now, I think. Do I want to delete him? He has the camera on him and everything. Yeah. Alright, delete. Bye. Gonna regret that later, but I did it. So let's see if that fixes nothing. Okay. Okay. Let's try just commenting out this line. And then it should yell at me about the next line, if that's true. Okay, so let's see these car objects that were created. They're car clones. Their arrays are set to nothing? We don't want the rays to hit nothing. We want them to hit everything except for checkpoints. Oh no. Well, I don't want to change this now. I want to change it on the prefab. So the car should be... It should not do what it's doing. So it should not be nothing. It should be everything except for the cars and the checkpoints. So the rays should see all those things. The laser beams that get shot out should ignore cars and checkpoints, but see walls, basically, is what that means. So if we go back to our scene, press run, these should turn yellow now. Cool. They weren't turning yellow before. So something about, so yeah, 931. I'm really confused. Not set to an instance of an object. Okay, so let's debug.log object count. Oh wait, is this a car? What is this? This is just a little cube? Let's delete you too. That cube doesn't do anything. So it shouldn't be tagged as a car. That might be why we had 11 instead of 10. And no errors. Simple, okay. I like simple. So now we could look at our canvas. Oh, is this where I put the... No, okay, that's a different canvas. This canvas. And we could see our list of elements. Let's back up. So even though this looks like one car, it's actually 10 of them stacked on top of each other. So if we drive them through the checkpoint, we should see the score go to 1 at some point. Sweet. So it's because they all drove through the checkpoint at the same time that all the scores went to 1. But if I killed a couple first, let's do that on purpose. So sometimes they get a little unaligned. They're not doing it this time, of course. I'm going to try to get them a little unoverlapped so I can kill a couple of them. Oh, okay, I killed all of them. Let's try that again. I just want to see that it's not always making these all one. It's a little hard to kill only one of them because... Well, you know what? Let's just do it the easy way. Press delete, 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 delete. But now that I deleted those, that's where the next problem is going to be. Because it's going to fill in that list on the canvas with... You'll see. It's going to fill it in order. It doesn't matter which order I deleted the cars in. It's going to fill in the first chunk. See? So the first 5 cars got filled in. And then when the new cars spawned, they filled in the rest. But the new cars aren't actually going to spawn that way, so that's okay. We're going to spawn them in a different method instead of just spawning them as the score increases. We can actually turn that off now in cars. So right here, this reproduction, we don't want it. I'll keep it in there for now, but it's really pointless. So we need some sort of ID for the cars as when they're created. Which we could do. Okay, yeah. We could instantiate the object in that for loop in the beginning, which means create all of the objects, and as we're creating each object, we're going to give it an ID, and that ID is going to be the same iterator that we use to loop over the loop. So it's going to be I is the ID, which that will make sense once I do it up here in the scorekeeper. So the scorekeeper is what is creating all those cars in the beginning, and it's in this for loop that does it 10 times because there's total cars. We're making 10 cars and adding 1 to it every time. So what we can do now is say child dot child dot ID equals I. So we actually have to give car the ID field. And it actually has to be a script, so on the car script. So I think we have to change the way that I did it. So public int ID. So that's how we're gonna know which car is which. And I think I could start it off as nothing. That's what I want at least. I'm not sure if that's possible. Game object. Okay, in scorekeeper, okay. We're getting the error in scorekeeper, which I was assuming this was incorrect. What is it yelling at me for? Line 16. Yes, child ID. Okay, object.getComponent and parent. So yes, we have to do the same thing. We have to do child.getComponent and parent. So we get that car object. So we're gonna say car equals that. And now we could say car.id equals I. And this should give every car a unique ID. I think. Something's wrong. Line 16. Again. Line 16. 2 dots. That'll break things for sure. No more errors. Cool. Warning though. Haven't seen a warning. Racetrack checkpoint manager. I didn't make checkpoint manager. So yeah, we're gonna ignore that warning. Okay. Now we press go. We see these cars should all have IDs now. If I go to the car script, ID is 0. Cross your fingers. ID is 1, 2, 3. Yeah, awesome. Okay. So now what we could do, I didn't do it yet, so these cars are going to behave the same way. So if I delete this car with ID 4, delete, we delete 4, well, we're going to delete whichever one this is. I think it's probably 7, so let's delete 7. Let's delete 1, which is technically the second car, because we start at 0. I'm just deleting a couple just to show that it's still not working right. So if we go to our canvas, we have this list. So we deleted 3 of them, so I assume the first 7 are going to fill up. So we have this list, so up till 6 should fill up with 1s. Yep, so all of these filled up with 1s, and they even want, oh, they keep going, cool, because I deleted that other thing. And now if all the cars die, so as you saw, I deleted them in like a random order. So that when the cars die, their scores stay, which is what we wanted. That's why we didn't put the scores on the cars themselves. So they weren't holding on to their scores when they die, it just bursts out into flames. We do get errors because we destroyed them. But yeah, I don't care. So we have, so now that we have the IDs, we could use that to keep track of the score too. So let's do that in here. So now instead of saying that the scores of I, so we were just using I to iterate over these, and I don't even need this at all anymore. I is not necessary because we have the car's ID. So now we just have to say car.id, and that will store it in the right spot. Cool. Very cool. So now if we do this, we press and we restart it. And now if we go to the canvas, oh, I'm going to delete another car, so I'm going to click on that again anyways. So let's delete car number 4, lucky number 4, and do number 1 too. And let's do another one. What's this? 8. So I think we did 4, 1, and 8. Delete. So now if I drive through here with the canvas open, this list, we should see some missing spots in the middle, which is perfect, yes. So now we have the ones that we deleted not there anymore. So we could keep track of all the cars without order, well, with order mattering, because we don't want the cars to mix up their scores after they keep track. So now each ID keeps track of each car. Cool. Very, very cool. I don't know if that was on my to-do list ever, but it should have been. Oh, give cars an ID so we know. Yes, we did it. We did not tally up the scores after a set period of time yet, though. I think it's Control-Shift-S, yes. So tallying up the scores after a set period of time. Okay, so I was just adding notes because these are the inputs to the network, outputs to the network. So another thing that we want to do next is figure out the outputs of the network, which is going to be the inputs to the car. So whatever our neural network that we make outputs is going to be what the car should do. So should it turn left, right, go faster, go slower, jump, drift? Apparently these cars have those abilities, so it'll be interesting to see if we could incorporate those somehow. That'd be pretty cool. But all of these cars have that ability, but right now they're all being controlled by my keyboard, so I want to make them start off maybe just using random inputs. So use random inputs for cars. Controller. That I don't know how to do yet, because right now the car controller is set up and linked to the keyboard by default, and I didn't make it. I was just using the one that came with this asset, so I think that might be a little difficult. So it's on this car prefab, I bet. And it was the wheel. Yes, so this wheel vehicle script. I didn't make this. We're going to try to jump into it and just make these random instead of actual inputs. So let's see if we could take a look at what the script is doing. So it gets throttle input, brake input. Okay. Drift input. So where does it use the throttle input? Down here. If throttle input does not equal. Okay, get input, throttle input. Okay. So if he does that for everything, we can kind of use this to our ability. So if we don't want any input, we just return blank and this won't happen. And we don't have to do get input. Huh. So all of those values are being used down there. So what about the boost? Boost, same spot. Drift, same spot. Yeah, so the jumping, drift, steering, boosting, throttle. Okay. I guess that's everything. So if that's where everything's happening, it's kind of easy because there's only 2 places where these are used, where it comes in and where they are used, I believe. Oh, but it's boosting, steering. Oh, this is even easier. Instead of doing this get input at all, instead of doing this, we just make it random. Cool, so instead of saying get input, yeah. I don't know what he's doing with the 0.05 or anything, or the steering angle. Get input, turn input. So basically wherever we see get input, we're gonna want to replace that with a random number, or that's where we're gonna put our brain's output. So I'd actually like to control these from outside of the vehicle. So that way in the future, when we get this vehicle, we could control it from an outside source. Maybe. I'm not sure about that yet. Unless we stick the brain in here, which we could do. But let's just try to override one of these right now. So if we do the throttle, let's just say, oh, brake input's cool too. So it's the throttle minus the brake input. That's why braking feels a little weird. Because if you hold both, I guess it just cancels out, maybe? So let's just say this is 1. Does that mean that full throttle? Or is that not full throttle? I bet that's full throttle. Let's restart this. Back to our scene. So I just hard-coded the throttle to be 1. So yeah, it looks like that's full throttle. Which is cool. Now we just know that that's how easy it is to override the values. I thought it was going to be harder than that. So what we could do here is instead of saying just 1, we could put that back for now. And at the top, I want to make public variables. Where can I do it? Is it just up here that I do it? I say public. Public. I don't want to say throttle input because it's right here. But we are replacing it, so we could just say public throttle input. But you know what? I'd like to have a switch where I could just put these back on. That's probably the best bet. So I could control them if I want, but if I don't want, it's controlled by the brain. So let's say public double or float throttle input. Throttle in. I'm just trying to think of what to call this. Throttle input 2. External throttle input. I like that. External throttle input. It's a long name, but it makes sense because it's like the input from outside of this function. But I don't know why that didn't like the word float. Does it like double? No. Float. Oh, it's because we're not inside our public class, I guess. Let's try it in here. Cool. So let's see if we could make this changed from the outside now. If I go to our car prefab, which is in prefabs, car prefab, external throttle input is 0. So if we make this 0.5, we should see, whoops. So make sure that's saved. Okay. So now if we run this, we should see nothing. It should still drive because, or is it not driving at all? Oh, it's still using my keyboard inputs because I put that back. So basically what I want to do now, is go to wherever these inputs were happening. I lost this, so let's just go back up here. Throttle input, let's replace that with external throttle input instead. So we're going to say external throttle input, semicolon. But does this only happen if I press the button because of this if statement? I don't know. No, it works. Cool. So now if we click on one of these cars, we can see that their throttle is set to 0.5. And if I turn one of them off, go back over here. Wait, well, you know what? Let's actually start them real quick, pause them, take one of the cars, turn off their throttle, and then we should see one car just not go as fast as the rest. Cool. So that means we can control these cars independently now. So that one just doesn't have any throttle. Apparently there's no very low friction because he's still rolling. I should do something about that. Maybe have an always on braking factor. Cool. Oh, I wanted to do something new today. I saw something that some other guy was doing, which I thought was cool. He did this thing where he had a list of everything he did each stream. Because I have this full list, but I don't know which stream it's from. I guess for now I can just put like a number at the end. So we did the ID thing. I think this is my 3rd stream. Maybe it's my 4th. Spawn cars at the start of the race. I didn't do that today. I guess I didn't really keep track of my to-do list today. So right now we're working on the use random inputs for car controllers. We're going to say that's a 4 for now. I'm going to figure out a better way to organize this later, but just so I don't have to do it right now, I'm adding a number at the end of the tasks to keep track. Okay. I just learned about this lerp function. It moves in between 2 values at a set interval, I believe, or time. I watched somebody talk about it, but I think that's wrong. So yeah, now we have the external throttle input. So we're going to want to make this for everything. So now instead of an external throttle input, we're going to make one for every single one of these inputs. Oops, I cannot spell. External brake input. Okay. And you know what? Let's just copy and paste that a few more times. I think that's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And then instead of, we're just going to replace this with the word turn. And then jump. So how's it going? Doing pretty good. I just figured out something. I'll show you in a minute. Let me just type out these things. It's basically what I'm doing right now. I'm getting all of the inputs to the car. So that way I don't have to control it with the keyboard anymore. And I could control it with numbers. So all the cars could have their own controls. Boost. So now, like, the throttle, the brake, the turn, the jump, the drift, and the boost are all going to be controlled with numbers, which I just showed a second ago. Where now on these cars, I have all these numbers. So I set the throttle to 0.5, and which is like half throttle, I guess. And now when I start it, they all just move automatically without me pressing anything. But if I pause it and take one of the cars, any of the cars, and I set it to 0. Oops. Set it to 0. I think I did. Yeah, so that one's throttle's input, and the other ones are still 0.5. And then I unpause it. We should see that one car slowed down. Try to get a view of that. Unpause. Yeah, so one starts lagging behind. And that's the one that I just changed the throttle to 0. So we can control. So now we just have to figure out a way to make all of the controls different. The way I'm going to do that now is just using randomness. I'm going to make them all just pick random numbers to start. It's a good way to start because that's usually how AIs start off, is with randomness. So we will do that. Oh, that's neat. Yeah. It's a little... Actually, it's fine. I was gonna say it's a little complicated because I don't know where I'm gonna control these things. I can't do it by hand for every single car. So right now I think right here, I might just make it random. Or I don't know where it happens. I don't want it to happen every second. A cool thing to do would be to do it in this scorekeeper. But then I shouldn't call it the scorekeeper, I should call it like the game controller. That'd be a good name for this, game controller, but I already named it scorekeeper, so I'd rather not change that. It might break things. But we could do it in here where when we get the score for all the cars, we also set their direction randomly. Yeah, okay. Okay, so yeah, we could do the same thing where we get the component, but instead of getting this car component, we need that wheel component because that's where all these things are. You see how this says wheel vehicle.cs up here? That's where all of these are. So before I was using car because the car has the ID and the score. So in this score keeper, if you want to get those variables or those names, you have to say whatever the name of it is. So I think it was wheel vehicle. I don't know why it's called that. I didn't name it that. It just came like that. So we don't want this to be, so we want it to be wheel vehicle. And we're just going to call it, I guess, wheel? I don't know why it's called wheel because it's not really the wheel. It's kind of the car controller. Maybe if we're in the controller theme, car controller. Actually, let's just call it wheel for now. I can always change it later. So now, if I say in here, wheel dot throttle, like external throttle control, external throttle input, I meant, we could set that to 1 now for all the cars. Equals 1, so we could say it's 1. But you know what we could do? We could actually only set it to 1 if the ID is 1. So if the car has the ID of 1, that's the only car that will get the throttle set. Just to show that we could do it for each car if we wanted to. So if car.id equals 1, then we will do this. Then we will set that car's throttle to 1. This is not what is actually going to happen. It's just a proof of concept. So if we do this here, I wish there was a better way to show this view. Well, this is kind of scaled down a bit. So maybe if I made it bigger and moved the camera over. Could I move this main camera over? So it has a better view of things. It kind of in a bad spot right here. Where are you? Okay, so you're here. I just drag you over. Nope. Drag you over to the start. That's a little better. Is that where the action happens? Oh, we have some errors. What are our errors? Scorekeeper. 33, 34. The type. Wheel vehicle cannot be found. Why? So on car, wheel space vehicle, is that a different thing? I'm confused why it doesn't like that because I did it for the car. Wheel vehicle. Did car. How did I do that before? Did I have to do something special? In the scorekeeper script? So in our scorekeeper, which is on our canvas. No, I didn't have to do anything. It just, oh, I gave it the car prefab, but it knows about the car wheel vehicle. So that shouldn't be an error. That's supposed to be equals equals. But why is this different from this? I don't get it. I do not get it. Get component in parent wheel vehicle. So I'm getting this component. Maybe I didn't press save. Okay, so it still isn't like that. Yeah, I have to fix those errors first. Line 33 it doesn't like. Am I spelling everything right? Okay, we can actually take this. The type or namespace wheel vehicle could not be found. I'm just going to copy and paste this into Google and see if other people have had this issue, because I don't know exactly why it's happening. Because I did the exact same thing before. Don't think that's the answer I wanted. I'm going to get rid of the word wheel vehicle, sorry. That's probably messing it up. Maybe if I put the word unity, I'll get better results. Oh, that is true, because I wasn't sure how this works. I didn't make it, so I don't know how it's set up. But they're saying it's in a different namespace. Don't exactly, I do know what that means, but doesn't, I don't know how that behaves. So you see how this is namespace vehicle behavior? Yeah, so how do I get that? I don't know how to use a using. How to use a namespace in Unity. Using enemy. So if I copy this, well, it's not really worth copying, it's just one word. So if I say using, and then whatever they said in here, oh no, not here. This is what I want to, so I'm going to say using vehicle behavior. So let's just copy this actually, vehicle behavior, and in the scorekeeper, say using vehicle behavior. I feel like this is wrong, but that's kind of what they're hinting at in those solutions. Let me know if you guys think otherwise. The errors went away. Is that really all I had to do? Yeah. So now, okay. So let's go to our car right here. We have it still. So I set the throttle to 0.5 for all of them. So let's set it to 0 by default. So now only the car with the ID of 1 should be driving. Let's see. So let's go back to our scene here. Let's maybe make this bigger. And let's move this camera a little bit, just so it's in a better place. It's kind of in like an awkward position. Oh well, that's not even the right camera I'm talking about. I'm talking about this camera. Well, okay, so we want it a little higher, a little bit further back. That's not back. A little bit further back. A little bit higher than that too. I just think that the camera looks better than the scene view because there's nothing else in the way. But you just gotta finesse it a little bit in the beginning. Okay. And now, if we run this, we should see one car go forward. That one. And that one car should have an ID. If we click on him, oh, we can't click on him because it's not scene view. Already hurt myself by changing the camera. How do we click on just the whole body of the car? Well, you know, let's just click on it over here. It's car 1. Car 1. Oh, I thought that was going to be car 1. Why is it not car 1? Oh, it's up here. Okay, so it is car 1. So this one would be car 1. Perfect. So if we look at the ID of this car, it is ID of 1. And it got a score almost. Its score is going up. Very cool. Nice. Very nice, actually. So, okay. So now that means we can control the cars from outside of the car script. So instead of doing, so this loop is gonna have a lot in it, actually. It's gonna get the score, and then it's gonna set the throttle randomly. So let's look up how to do a random number. I used to know how to do it easily. Unity random numbers. I just want okay, random range. That sounds familiar. So you can see it's random range from 1 to 6. I want a random range. Okay, random has a whole bunch of things actually. Random. Classes? No. Okay, range. I think that looks like the only one. Okay, returns a value. Random value. That's what we want. So random.value returns a random float within 0 and 1. Okay. So we're going to say so we're going to want this to be a random number. So random dot value. Is that it? That's not how you use that, right? That can't be. I think I did that wrong. Random value. Let's click on that. Let's see how it looks. How do you use it? Random. Okay, capital R. That's why it didn't turn purple. Do I have to include something first? Using Unity Engine, maybe. Yeah, I have to use Unity Engine, it says. So let's add that to the top of our file. We are using Unity Engine, so that should work. Let's try it. Okay, so we should, if we click on our car 1, that number is randomly changing a lot, which is alright. It's going to go forward because it's always happening, but instead of it happening all the time, we're going to want to change that so the random value only happens sometimes, so it randomly changes every once in a while. And maybe the throttle only turns on if it's greater than like 0.5, so that way only half the time the throttle will be enabled. Otherwise the throttle's off. Is that a good way? Do you not want that to happen? What are you talking about? The car going forward? That was actually how I wanted it to work. That was exactly what I wanted, but now I want it more controlled, because if you saw when I pressed, I wanted the throttle to be a random number. And I'm going to do this for all of the inputs, but right now it's only happening for car 1, which I'm doing on purpose, but it's just so sporadic, and I just want it to be more controlled, so maybe every like second or two it changes the number. But yeah, I do want this to be changing the random number, if that's what, yeah, so the number's changing randomly. Yes. I want them to change randomly, just not, maybe not that fast. So I'm going to do something here where I'm going to actually use a random range. So instead of so if random dot range, I think, or is that a capital R? I think it was capital R. So we're gonna go from 0 to 1,000. So if like a random number between 0 and 1,000 equals 0, so this will only happen 1 every 1,000 times. So I'm basically just saying like this won't happen very often. It's like a 1 in 1,000 chance, but because it's happening so quickly, it actually will update pretty often, if that makes sense. So we're going to move this inside of there, so that way the random number of the throttle is only going to be set 1 in 1,000 frames, basically, with some randomness. So it might not be exactly 1,000 frames. You could have 2 in a row, but that'd be unlikely because it's picking a random number between 0 and 1,000. It has to be 0. I'm not sure if 0 is actually included, so I might have to make this 1. But if it actually starts changing, we'll see if that works or not. So let's run it, pick our first car right here. So its throttle is not changing. Okay, it just changed. There we go. It changed again. So it's happening kinda often, which is good. That's what I wanted now. So we should see this change again in a second. If it gets 0, it's doing it so often. I think there has to be a better way to do that, because I feel like I'm using a lot of resources by picking like 1,000 random numbers that often. See, it just changed again as it's falling off the edge. But so that's working. And now what we could do is we could do that for every single car. Because right now I have it locked in, so it's only the car with the ID of 1. But all I have to do is delete that. And now all of the cars are going to have random numbers. Let's line this up a little better. So now every single car is going to do that. So when I press play, you'll just see them all start driving at different speeds. So one of them got it. Yeah, see, so a few of them got the randomness. So now they're all using randomness to drive, and eventually they'll all move, because so these ones are the unlucky ones that didn't get to go first. All right, so they all moved. They set their random numbers, and it's cool. So now we can do that for everything. We could do that for where am I? So now we can do that for every single value. Well, we'll copy this whole thing. I want this whole random thing. I'm going to be using so many resources because of this. Because I'm going to be picking so many random numbers that this is a horrible way to do this, but I'm going to fix it after. But just for now, I just want to see it work for all the cars, where they're all choosing different numbers. So we got the throttle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we need one more. Okay. So instead of throttle, we have the other values. So external what? We got boost, brake. What do we want first? Throttle. Turn input. I don't know how that's going to work. I actually don't know how turn input's going to work. External. So we did turn input. I guess brake input. I don't know how that's going to work either. Some of these are going to need some tweaking, I feel. Because brake is going to fight with the boost. And you don't want them to always be happening at the same time. When the car learns, it's not going to use randomness. So this is just proving a concept. So we got the drift. What else do we have? Just want to make sure I don't duplicate anything. Jump? Did we do jump? No jump. And then I think we need boost. That's it. Boost input. Okay, let's make sure we got all 6. Cool. So now these are all going to be randomly picked, but they aren't linked in yet. Right now I only have the external throttle working because you see this little dot down here, that's that. And if I click on any of these, they're not doing anything. So let's do the brake first, I guess. Where was that? Down here? Yeah. So external throttle input, I put that there. And the way that they had it is the throttle equals the external throttle input, or the throttle did equal this throttle input minus the brake input. So we're just going to copy that. So we're going to say minus the new brake input. So they did this if is greater than 0.5. So what I'd like to do is just replace what they have with my own. So I'm going to leave that in. Doing comments like this means that the computer ignores that. That's why it's green like that. So we're going to say external boost input. And I'm not sure how steering works, but we're going to do the same thing because I think it has to be in here. That's why they did it. So let's do the same thing and say, so one thing that I could see happening right now is turn input being weird because I'm picking a number from 0 to 1, but I feel like turning might actually go to -1 to mean left. So I have a feeling all these cars will turn right only, but so we will see. So external turn input. And then we got the drift input, so we're going to replace that too. I'm not fully replacing these because I do want to keep them, but this is just the easiest way to do it. So we're going to say external drift input right there. Helps me autofill things. So it looks a little complicated because this is still in there, but it's really being ignored. Do that here too, so the jump input. The jump input's going to be funny because they're just going to be jumping randomly, I bet. External jump input. Jumping's going to be useless, I feel like, so I might just turn it off when I do the actual AI. But they might find a use for it, especially if I add obstacles. But I don't know how they'd see the obstacles, so that just adds complexity that I might just remove jumping. But let's see what happens now. Okay, something's wrong. Wheel line 247 expected a semicolon. I am the worst at that. 247. Where? Does it not like this? If it doesn't like this, I'll remove it. I guess you can't do that. Is that the problem? It's gonna say the next line's the issue. Okay, that's not the issue. What's the issue? Oh, I see. You see this bracket? It doesn't have a starting one. Originally it was this. It wasn't actually that comment. The comment was fine. So now that should go away, and we should be able to see a bunch of random movement and jumping. So they're going backwards all over the place. I don't see any of them turning left yet. They're all doing some sort of backwards jumping. It's kind of funny looking. That one figured something out. That one's still going. Look at him. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like they're all turning left only, which I I could fix by multiplying the number by 2 and subtracting 1. Easy fix. Because if you take... so if the number was like 0.25, I would want that to mean left because it's less than 0.5. So if you go to the calculator here, it would be like 0.25 times 2. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to say minus 1. Which would be negative 0.5, which is exactly what this is. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just do this exact equation in the code. So for turn input evaluate. So we're going to say this times 2 minus 1. Simple fix, but that should make them start turning both ways. So I guess that braking is actually reversed, which I guess makes sense. Yeah, so there they go. They're turning left. Now they're only turning left. Is that true? No, there goes one right. Okay. And some of them just got lucky and made it through. Didn't die. So those ones would be able to reproduce, basically. Or they would get the high score. I think I like the jumping. It's kind of funny. So this guy's the only one that didn't actually die. And his random numbers are still changing. Okay, there he goes. He's driving away, jumping. Jumping and driving, jumping and driving. Just want to see. Just want to make sure everything's working. So we could probably get rid of the jumping at some point. It is funny to look at though. So he's going in reverse. And jumping. I mean, this might be a strategy at some point. AIs figure out weird things. It might help them turn faster or something like that. Yeah. These trails, though, are going to cause issues because there's so many of them. Look. Oh, and they don't go away? Oh, is it the tire marks? What is that? I don't know what those are. Do they never go away? Oh yeah, that's a small tire mark. So every little tire mark is an object. And all the particles that they shoot out do a lot of calculations too. Where's our car going? The lone survivor, still going strong. Cool. So they're all moving around randomly. I thought that was going to be a little bit harder, and I like the way I did it. Because I'm controlling it from the scorekeeper, which is outside of the car completely. So last time with the natural selection simulator, I did have some trouble getting the values outside of the creatures. But now all of the values are being controlled from outside of them, so it's just built like that from the start, which is going to make things easier later on. Because now instead of changing these values randomly, I'm going to change their neural networks randomly and probably store them in this wheel vehicle. I think. Because this should be called car controller. Or car.cs I could put it in. The brain could be here too. That's why I called it the car script. Alright, so what do we do next? That's basically what I'm wondering. We got these cars all jumping and moving. Doing things randomly. That one randomly went straight. That's the best bet, I bet. One of them made it past, I think. Did it not? No. Okay. But if we go to the canvas now, we can see that one of the cars actually made it through a checkpoint. Just one. That one's not gonna make it, I don't think. What is going on? Well, I made all of the cars have random inputs, so they're all randomly doing everything. So when I press start, they're all just gonna jump around, and for some reason, jumping is a common thing. So they're either like jumping or they're not. Did any of them get a score? Oh, one of them made it a little bit. Zoom this back in over here. They're funny looking though, but they're all moving around. Why is this so hard to move? Oh. Okay, that's a little better. So yeah, we basically have most of the things that we need now. They could randomly choose actions. That's funny. I know, they do look kind of funny. Especially this guy. We'll select them again. See what happens. Yes, they're all randomly choosing left, right, straight. That one went straight, so we should see one of them got a good score. Oh, see, one of them went through all 3 checkpoints. That guy got lucky. He would be the best one, and he would be the winner and have more cars like him created. But right now they're just using randomness, and the next part, let's see. Use random for car controller. I just did that. All the inputs into the arcade car, we just got that too. So these to-dos were saying like set up the inputs to the car. Make sure we can control the cars with numbers basically, and I just proved that we can. So now, okay, we do want to set up the reproducing. So the best cars that got the furthest in a certain amount of time will reproduce with some randomness to allow for the underdogs. So this randomness is for the neural network, not actually for our randomness right now, because our randomness right now is just truly completely random. They're just picking random inputs at random times and just moving randomly. But this randomness isn't actually randomness. It's going to be randomly keeping some of the bad cars that have like the bad neural networks. I would also like to keep track of which car the children are based off of. So we basically want to know their lineage. Who was their parent and their parent and their parent. But I don't want to keep track of too many of that because it might be a lot eventually if we let this run for a long time. And now what we could actually do, I think the way that I set it up is everything is based off of numbers. So we could change this number to where in the car? Nope, in the scorekeeper. We should be able to change this to 100 and have 100 cars all moving randomly. Let's see if that's true. So this list, oh, is that list gonna get bigger? No, it's not. Why is it not getting bigger? Okay. Scores. Why is scores at 10 by default? I thought that I made it the total number of cars. Oh, it's probably loud for you guys. Sorry, I didn't even realize how loud these cars are. Yeah, I should definitely lower the cars. Sorry about that. Didn't, especially now that I have 100. How do I? volume mixer. That's all I was trying to do. I don't know why I couldn't. Oh, I did lower it, so maybe it's not as loud for you guys. Still, you don't need to hear 100 cars. It's a little loud. Okay. Is that not working? Okay. We feel lower that, like, super quiet. Better. Should have been monitoring that. But for some reason, this one thing isn't working. They're all not moving right. 10 are. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Wrong item. This is supposed to be total car's length. But it's not working. Maybe if I say that this is total cars. Whoops, total cars. No, that's not where you do that. All good now? Good. Cool. What if we just said this is straight up 100? It still doesn't change. Why? I'm so confused. Why? Scorekeeper. Scores. Scorekeeper. Scores. It shouldn't be saving that 10. I could change this to 100 manually, which will make it work. But I don't want to do that every time. Because now if I press run, should be good. Yeah, now they're all moving randomly. That's a lot of cars. You know, let's just turn off this camera. Oh, so we can't see it. Cool, I like that. That's a lot of lasers. So we should see, yep, a bunch of cars and a bunch of scores. Yeah, that one made it through. No, I don't see any scores. Oh, there's one that made it all the way through. So car 24, I don't know where he is though. Cool. Well, that one made it all the way through, it looks like. That's probably 24. Oh, I'm trying to click on you. Car. Which car were you? 45. So yeah, there were a bunch of cars. Now we could have 100 at once. And it doesn't look like it takes... It doesn't look like it can't handle it. It's actually handling 100 cars perfectly fine. Let's push the limits. Let's see what we could get up to. Let's try 500. For some reason that's not gonna work here. I know that's not gonna work. Oh. They didn't like me changing that while they were still alive. Was it on the canvas? Yeah, so that we've changed this to 500. 500. I'm really not sure why I have to change this manually. It should not be doing that. Okay, so we have 500 cars, and it does not like that. I bet it's working, but I bet it's working very slowly. Yeah, I see the... Okay. 100, not too much. 500, too much. Let's go somewhere in between. Oh, I broke it. Okay. Okay, cool. Let me stop it. I think I just started it again, didn't I? I want to stop it. Okay. Let's change this. No, I don't want you to go again. No, I had it stopped. So loops are bad. and doing a lot of things every single time is also bad. So instead of doing the randomness the way I'm doing it, I really have to do it a different way. So let's change this to 200, I guess. That seems like the next. Oh my gosh. It's super frozen. I don't want to get stuck here. Well, we can change the code back to 200. I'm not sure if 200 is going to do the same. 100 it handled so smoothly, I thought it could definitely handle 500. Guess not. Oh, it's super frozen. I can't even click away. Okay, reloaded. Maybe that won't start it automatically. Okay, I could actually change this number to 200 now. Let's try it. 200. A little faster. One of them just went into space, though. Why are they doing that? They're not supposed to have collisions. I guess that's just, like, braking. Okay, 200 is still too much. I thought 100 was fine. Maybe 100 is just what we'll do if 100 works. Because if 200 is that bad, but 100 looks fine, then we'll keep it at 100. 100 cars will be our go-to until things get too complicated and I have to reduce it. Okay, yeah, 100 cars works fine. It'd be cool to optimize things later so we could have more, but all these cars moving randomly. That one's gonna make it pretty far. Oh, he was going backwards now. Oh, you were so close, man. And he made a he went all the way in and then all the way back out while all the other cars are hitting the walls, showing off. That one's going for round 2. He might make it. Whoops. Forgot I can't move that camera on the side. You got this. Thanks. Are you talking to me or the cars? He's late. He's late to the game, but he might make it through if he just turns the other way. Nope, he's going the other direction. Bye. Are these cars like those weeble wobble things that can't fall down? Let's test that theory. Can you? Oh, that is not a whole car. That's just the engine block. I'm wondering if these cars can't get stuck upside down. That'd be kind of cool. Rotation. I think if I change this. Nope, that's not the way. Z rotation? Yeah, so I want to flip them over. Let's see. Can they get stuck? Well, that one kind of got lucky. Let's try that again. Just want to increase the Y, flip you over. Let's see. Yeah, they just flip over. That's kind of cool. So at least we know our cars won't get stuck flipping by flipping over. So I liked how I was able to turn off the camera. Okay, so that makes this scene so much cleaner. What if I just turn off everything? Oh no, it's actually getting rid of them. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to get rid of the camera, I guess. So I didn't see it in here. What are gizmos? All right. So we got all these things randomness. What is next besides looking at them? What is next? I lost my Notion page. Is that right here? There it is. We need reproduction, The best cars that got the furthest in a set amount of time. So we have to figure that out. So that does mean we're going to need some sort of timer. Okay, so that's going to happen in the update, I bet, but I don't know how to set a timer. So let's, I know it has something to do with the enumerator, so how to set a timer in Unity. Or I don't actually want a countdown timer. I want like something to happen during an interval. Yeah, no. How to run a function on a set interval in Unity. 2008, wow. Fix update if it runs at the same rate otherwise. Through yield, wait for seconds, and start coroutine. That's what it is. I should be doing fixed update actually. This one's newer, 2018. Timer plus equals time.delta time. Fixed update. So in update, coroutine show game object position. If (2010). This is cool. So in they're using regular update, not fixed update. And they're adding time.delta time. So this guy got the most upvotes. This does not work. Time.time will always be higher than the next action. So we probably do time.delta time. Okay, let's try this one first. So in our scorekeeper, in our start, well, not in our start, I think down here we just make this enumerator. Didn't need to do that. Or did he do it in update? I didn't see. Where did he have that? I don't know where you put this function, but let's try do check. So we're calling that function that he We just copied and pasted. Just see if it works. Does it do something? Actually don't know what it does. What does that function do? Does it print something? Oh, do something here. Okay. We have a lot of printouts going on, and I don't want to see them all. So let's get rid of some of those. I think it's this. So any debug.logs, are there more in here? Just those. What about in the vehicle thing? I think that's good. Scorekeeper. We got debug.log, object count. I don't want any debugs.log. Okay. So now we shouldn't be logging anything. And then I could test out the coroutine. Cool. Nothing's being printed here. Now we could just test out that coroutine, make sure that's working. So do check. Let's say execute block of code here. So we're just going to debug.log. Timer happened. Okay, let's see. It should be quick because it says 0.1 seconds. Oh, okay. No, race start. That's not what I was looking for. So a bunch of the cars are starting the race. A lot of them are. One of them got a score. So you can actually see the scores here. Forgot that I was logging those. But for some reason that coroutine did not appear to work. Oh, I have to say start coroutine. Oh, I'm dumb. I called it like a function. And I saw that before too. I just didn't register it. So instead of saying do check, I have to say start coroutine do check. And we're going to say like round 1 or something. Timer happened, timer happened, timer happened. Okay, so it actually happens often. Very often. So we could use that for the randomness. Instead of doing randomness, we check it less often, so this doesn't happen every single frame. Then we could just say like a random number between 1 and 10 instead of 1,000. Oh, so that's why this is a for loop. It's happening forever. I see. So normally you call it once and it just happens once. But now if I change this to 0.5, it's going to happen every half a second. So not as often, I think. There. Okay. Tick, tick, tick. Cool. So that's how you do a timer. Why was I doing a timer? I just wanted to see the rounds. So now if we make this like a big number, like 30 seconds, 30.0 seconds. And then after that, we're going to call a function called tally scores, or yeah, we could say it's tally scores or race over or something like that. Just something to say that we're done with the we're done with this round. And we want to keep track of the scores. So the timer happened. Oh, but it already happened. We're going to miss it, say it again, but it's going to say timer happened again at some point. Maybe we'll see it. Timer happened. Okay, there we go. So when the timer happens, we want the when the timer happens, we want the score to be tallied up for all the cars, or not tallied up, but like we want to rank the cars in order of best to worst. So let's figure that out. So right here, we're going to call a function after that 30 seconds is up and say debug.log. You know what we could even do? We could even say in here, like, int I equals 0. And then every single time this happens, we add 1 to it. Or, you know, let's start I at 1, so that way we start with round 1. So we're going to say round 1 ended. And, well, it's not going to be round 1, it's going to be round... And we're going to add the I in between there. So it's going to say round I ended. And it's going to tell us which round. Let's make these 10 seconds each so we don't have to wait so long. You know what? Let's just make it 5 seconds. So we don't have to wait so long. And let's run it, count to 5, and we should see down here that round, which round is over. Okay, we should see again, round 1 ended, timer happened, and then it should say round 2 ended. Oh, it still says round 1. I'm not adding anything to I, am I? I'm not. So I have to say, I wonder, can I do it up here? Can I say I++? It's weird it's about to do it, but I feel like I can, because that's how a for loop works. Yeah. So now we should see round 1 ended. All of them are starting the race this time, though. Round 2 ended. I see it. I might have missed round 3. Too much stuff going on. I saw the round, but I didn't see which round we're... Okay, round 5 just ended. So yeah, it's working. That was 25 seconds. Okay. So now every single round, we want to keep track of the scores, see who got the best, and rank them. So we're going to want a new function. I'm going to say it's going to be called void oh, I see what we could do. So I want to sort the list, but I want to sort the cars based off their scores. But I have all the scores in a list here. So I'm going to need some sort of sorting function to keep track of the best scores. Huh. Well, let's say get best scores. That'll be our function. And in this function, get best scores, we're going to say we have the scores list available to us. So for scores in score. No. We'll do I equals 0. I is less than scores dot length. Or is it length of scores? I think it's length of scores. Maybe. And then not the kind of brackets I wanted. Okay. Length does not exist. I haven't done that yet in Unity. I haven't gotten the length of a total cars equals 100. Yeah, no, I haven't. Length of an array in Unity. Just that length, that's it. That's what I had first. So it's actually just scores.length. And it's lowercase too, I believe. Is what I was saying. Total does not contain a definition for length. Capital, I guess, is what we needed. Okay. We're not doing anything with scores.length right now, so I just want to make sure that it worked. I don't know how to get the best scores, honestly. I would need a 2D vector, one with the scores and the IDs, and then sort them by the scores. But that's gonna be hard. You know, let's just get the best score. Just the best. That's easier to do. So we could say high score equals 0. Int, is it always going to be an int? For now it is. Let's just say float high score equals 0 to start. So you want the high score to always start at 0. And then if you see a score higher than your high score, you update it. So if scores sub I is greater than high score, then high score equals scores sub I, because of that. Yeah, so if the current score is greater than the high score, then that means that's the new high score. So you update the high score with the new high score, and that's the new score to beat, basically. But now we also want to keep track of which index we're at. So I. So we're gonna say, yeah, index int index equals -1 to start, just in case there is no high score. We don't want it to think that it was the 0 car. Index equals I. So now we'll be able to say, after this loop happens, whoops. I don't know what that was saying. Whoops. So after this loop happens, we'll have a high score. So we'll say debug.log I whoops, I want to say high score equals, and then we're going to say high score. We're going to say car with car ID equals, and we're going to show the car ID. So we're going to show the high score and which car got it. So the high score is going to be I. That's the ID. So now we just have to call this function get best scores once every 30 seconds, which we do just by putting it when we print out the round ended. So every time the round ends, we're going to get the new scores. And then we're going to reset all the cars every round. They're not going to be 5 seconds long. I does not exist in the current context. Oh, it's because it's called index. Because I only exists in this little loop. So that's why I made this index variable. So index. Okay. So now we should see the score with the car with the high score cannot convert double to float. Which one's a double? I guess that I'd made those doubles. Oh well. I did make an array of doubles. We'll do that for now. Okay. Timer happens. Alright. Let's pause that for a second. So the high score was 0 and the car ID was -1. So that means no car went through any checkpoints in that first round. Actually want to get rid of all of these debugging because it's a little annoying. I'm trying to see what's going on. Did the second round end? Timer happened, okay. High score equals 3 and the car ID was 25. So if we go down this list and find 25, which one is this? This car is 29, so I went a little too far. 28, 27, 26, 25. Oh, that was not 25. 23, 20. Oh, this is 25. Why are they out of order? Oh, because it probably crashed. Yeah. So you can see car 25 got the score of 3, and luckily it didn't get deleted yet, or else we wouldn't know that. Oh, okay, yeah. Good thing. Yeah, that's why I'm keeping track of the scores. I forgot. So now we keep running this, and we'll just see if any cars get better than that. Forever. One car did something weird over there. So the car, still the best car is 25. I don't think he's going to be beat unless some car randomly goes through the next checkpoint all the way over here after going through these, which is going to be tough with randomness alone. So I think car 25 wins this one, but that just shows that we did it. We're able to keep track of the best car. Ideally, I'd like to keep track of all of the cars and rank them in order. But that would require a lot of... It's not hard to sort a list, but I want to sort the list and keep the indexes for the cars that have the scores. That's the problem. Because if you have a list of scores, you can easily sort them in order. There's like sorting functions. But I'm not sure how to sort one list while also keeping the other list sorted at the same time. How to sort a list in Unity. I just want to see how it's done. By variable. Okay. Okay, no, that doesn't really help. Sort a list of game objects by accessing their int values. That's kind of what I want. No. Sort a list of a class by an int in it. That's what I need. I need to make a class with the int. or the float, and then the int is the ID. This is perfect. So if I make a class of, so a list of items, and our items is going to be the score and the ID. Then we sort that. So this, let's see if anybody helped this guy. How about dot sort? Okay. The most suitable way would be to use a link. This seems difficult. This seems like a difficult problem. Items equal order by whatever this W is. It's an arrow function, I know that. Oh, so this is just an example. So he made this list of these items. Then he sorts the items by the start position. And then he prints it out by logging the items. I bet all these cars are just falling into infinity. Any of them still on the track? Nope. Oh, there's one. Oh, there's a couple. They all didn't fall off yet. Somehow. Cool. It used to be quicker to scroll. I don't know what happened. Even when I scroll all the way out, it used to be quicker. So that car 25 won it forever. Let's see if we can get a different car to win. Okay. Car, no car got it yet. Some of the cars went through the first few checkpoints. The high score is 1 right now. Oh, it looks like one car might have went to 2. Yeah, so I think that the high score is still 1. This bouncing car looks like he might make it. Yeah, he's gonna hit the wall. This guy has a chance if he doesn't turn. Is he gonna be the last one to try it? No, he's bouncing too much. Oh, somebody else got the same high score though, so it overwrote the other guy. I think the other one was 55 or something. Someone's still over there though. If he just presses the gas, he'll get a new high score. Yeah, nobody did it. Oh, this guy's coming out of nowhere. Oh, he had a good approach. I thought he was gonna make it. I watch my simulations too much. That's my problem. That's why things take so long. But our high score is working. A simple way to do it. If score is greater than high score, index equals I. An array in Unity while keeping the index. Two lists in your own sorting. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Indexes and values. That's what somebody said. a link in the neat extension. That's the second time I saw a link. It's making me think that that might be a good idea. Make a custom class that contains two ints, one for score and the other for the index number. Then make an array using that class if the class was called score index perhaps. Then write a custom sorting function and use that with system.array.sort on the array. The sort function is trivial since you're just comparing the score part of each entry. Since the index value is part of the same variable, it basically just comes along for the ride when the scores are sorted. That's what I was thinking too, but making a custom sorting function, it's not gonna be a good one. I mean, I could look up optimal sorting functions, but it doesn't have to be like extremely efficient. It's only 100. Yeah, it's only 100 scores. I could really do any sorting strategy, especially since I'm doing it every 30 seconds or so. Yeah. So what I'm going to do now instead is just make my own sorting function. What are some sorting functions? Says like, no, there's bubble sort. So I would make this an index array then. It has a size of 100. I think you do it like this: int array index equals new int 100. So it's just has 100 ints in it. So it's going to change how I use index. But let's just change it to sub-0 for now. Index sub-0, just to make sure that the indexing works and I don't get any errors. Does that work? Let's just run it and see what happens. It says compiler errors. Okay, no compiler errors, and it should still work the same way. Oh, but it starts at 0 now. Okay, car ID equals 6. Cool, okay, that works. So I guess when you make a new int, it starts at 0, which is fine. We could do that. But now what I want to do is create a boolean that says sorted. Sorted equals false. So that's going to mean that we didn't sort yet. And then we're going to do a while loop. So while not sorted. So while our list is not sorted yet, we're just going to keep doing this loop, and we're going to compare two numbers and then swap them, I guess. I actually don't know what the heck I'm doing. So if you go look at two numbers, if the left one is bigger than the right one, you want to switch them. I know this is like a simple sorting idea. I'm just trying to do it from scratch without looking anything up. If I look it up, I'll find like copy and paste answer. And this is such a simple solution that I just want to do it and then make an optimal version after. So you switch them, and then So yeah, this index thing, I want to have all the indexes to start. So for I in for int I equals 0, I is less than 100, I guess. I don't want to say 100, I just want to say total cars. Total cars I plus plus. And then we're going to say index sub I equals I. So that's just going to fill the index array with just numbers from 0 to 99. There's probably an easier way to do that. There's probably like a built-in function that fills an array. To do, replace this with better option. I should probably write this everywhere. Replace this with better option. Okay. Let's just make a quick sorting function. So the way that I'm going to do it is, while not sorted, int, let's use a different thing instead of I, because I is in here, it'll confuse it. We're going to say int j, I guess, equals 0. J is less than, let's use k. So I don't usually go up to k, but if I do a 2D T array, I don't want to. So if k equals 99, or no, if k equals total cars, then k equals 0. Because I want to reset this loop every time it gets to 0 until we have a sorted list. Oh, well, you know what? In this while loop, I'll put a for loop. That solves the k issue. Yeah, so okay, for. Now I could use I again. I love using I as the iterator. I was getting scared using k. Okay. Yeah, no, that's actually right. +1. So if this score is greater than the score next to it, then we want to replace that score with this score and swap them. So we're going to need a temp. Oh god, I'm making a messy sorting thing. Temp score. I also need a temp index. Temp index, yeah. So we want to set temp score to equal score sub I. This is such a gross sorting function. But I like it. And then you say score sub I equals. So if this number was greater than the one to the right of it, you want to swap them. So now if this one is greater than scores, no, so yeah, that one equals the other score, I plus 1. And the score I plus 1 is going to equal our old score, which is stored in temp score. Okay, now we need that same thing to happen for the index, so index sub I equals index sub I plus 1. And we're gonna have to change our loop so it goes one less than 100. Temp index. All right, so after this we should have two lists. Well, we won't have two lists yet. We'll have everything swapped and say so if this okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna say int I equals 0, and we're gonna say count equals 0. So now we have two values in here. I think you have to put a comma, not a, yeah. And we're gonna count how many times we swap. If we don't have to swap at all after the for loop, then that means that it is sorted. But we should have count be set up outside of it. So let's actually take this out of here and put it right in this while loop. So I'm just gonna say int count equals 0. And then every time we do this while loop, we reset count to 0. But every time we swap something, we're gonna increment count. So we know how many times we swapped. So that way we could say if count equals 0 after the for loop, that means we didn't swap at all, which means the list is in order. So we could say sorted equals true. And then we will break out of this loop and continue on our merry way. And we'll say so the high score is now going to be it's going to be the 99th one. I should have made it 0. That would require some changing. I'll probably change it later actually because I don't like this. We keep that there, so it's going to actually be score sub 99, an index of 99, because that's the last one in our list. We could also say cars. Well, yeah, let's just do 99 for now, because I know I have under cars. And this is just for testing anyways. Okay. One thing we need to change. I just had a thought in my mind that I had to change something. I lost it though. Oh yeah, this loop. This loop should not go up to that. It should go up to -1. And I made this whole thing from scratch without looking at anything. Let's make sure we don't have any little simple errors, because I want to be able to say I did it on the first try without anything. Okay, I see errors already. The name score does not exist in the current context. Why? Oh, score. Where do you see score? Scores. Okay. I don't count that as an error. That was a typo. Cannot do double to int. Where? 94. Line 94. Index, temp index. Why? Yeah, you don't need to be a double. You should be an int. Okay. Next error. Score does not exist again. I did it again. 112. Where did I do that? Scores. Oops. Okay. So now we should be good. We could just run this. I don't know why those cars jumped. Okay. No, okay, so car ID is 99. And the high score is 0 because nothing happened yet. No car got a high score. If any car can please get a score, that would be very nice. I want to just see that this thing works. That car is going straight through. Nice. Did it work? I'm missing it. High score equals 2. Car ID equals 24. I think we got it. We successfully are sorting. Because otherwise that would just say 99 still. Uh-oh, it said 99 again. Why'd it go back to 99? Let's try that again. Was it a fluke? Was it possibly that the 99th car actually got the next high score? There's a 1 in 100 chance that happens. Okay, high score 1, 27. Okay, high score 3, 99. So it's going back to 99. And I don't know why. Why would the car ID be going back to 99? Car ID equals index 99. Oh, because when I call this, it's resetting every single time. Yeah, so we don't want this to happen in here. We want this to happen up here. Can you actually do something like that up here? Oh, yeah, you know what? We'll make the... Can I do all that up there? I don't think I can. No. I have to do it in start. Just when we start the game, I want to do that loop. We'll make it public so we can see what's going on. And then in here, in the start, we're going to just set... We're actually doing the same thing right here. The same exact loop. So we're just going to take this. And yeah, you know what? I'm going to... Well, actually, this is more efficient because we're already doing this loop. And we needed it. So if it goes right there, it's going to do the same thing. Should not give me any errors. And now it should save the car thing, and we can actually see it now. So if we go to our canvas, I believe, and we see our list, we should see the 99th one get filled up with whichever one gets the highest score at the end of a checkpoint. So one of them just went through. So that should have changed already. Okay, 2. There we go. 1. Oh, it's getting sorted so slowly. What? What's going on? Then it's being reset to 0? We almost had it. I'm stuck trying to sort this list. Let's debug.log this so we know when it thinks it's sorted. The scores have been sorted. All right. So when it says that, I'll know that it thinks it sorted it, but we'll see if that's actually true. Let's let these guys get some scores now. Okay, so we should see one of them all the way down here. Okay, let's pause this and let's read our logs, because I wasn't reading any of them. I just want to see if it says, okay, the scores have been sorted. Scores have been sorted. High score equals 3, car ID equals 20, 62, or 60, so 62 is 61. I'm super confused because that should be going to the bottom. That should be going to the bottom. What is going on here? Scores is something different than what I think it is. Scores is not what I think it is. The only explanation. Where are scores? Scores. Score, 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 score. Oh, hey Akash. How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. I'm just trying to figure out this sorting function that I'm making. I'm trying to give these cars a score. Right now they're all driving randomly. And I am struggling. I don't know why that one's jumping up in the beginning. But it's working, but I don't know why it's working. Okay, let's see this. I score equals 2, car ID equals 49. So we should see up here, 49, I guess, is... Oh, wait, no. Yeah, so technically this is 49, even though it says 48, because it's minus 1. And the high score is 2. I don't know what's going on here. Do you know what's going on here? Maybe I can't change the scores over here. I thought I could. So it says the scores have been sorted. I want to see if it just does that always. So let's say else. I'm just trying to debug this. So it says else. The scores are still sorting. Because when count is 0, that means it's sorted. So it should have... The scores are still sorting. Oh, that's cool. I made something like this in Visual Basic in college. Totally different level of complexity, though. That's cool. What kind of thing was it that you were working on? Oh, you're making what you're talking about the sorting function in general, or like the whole little simulation aspect of it too. Okay, so let's see if the scores are still sorting real quick. Um, every 5 seconds it does it. So, okay, there we go. No cars made it through to the first checkpoint. One of them just did it, so it should update. After a minute, I'm going to pause it and then scroll through these. Okay. Scores are still sorting. They're still sorting. Okay, so then they got sorted. So it is working. No, just a visual simulation of a toll booth with some physics stuff. Anyways, gotta hop off. Best of luck. Thanks for stopping by. That sounds cool too. I don't know what you were sorting, but might some of your expertise might be handy in another stream. But right now it says that it's still sorting, so I think it's working. I don't know why it's not changing this list though. Oh, wait a minute. That time it totally did, because all of these scores are stuck at the bottom. What about my index array? Okay, so 42 and 3 should be my best score. Is that what it just said? 42 and 3. Okay, now it's working properly. I don't know why. Why is it working good now? Why is it working right now? That one's a straggler, but it might have happened after the fact, after the sorting happened. So's that one. Let's let it sort one more time. Okay, they just got sorted. Everything just got sorted, so we should not see any stragglers. I see a 0 in there. Twos, zeros. Yes, this isn't working right. It's trying to sort everything. But it's not. This seems like a problem for another day. It really does. But I think we made a ton of progress today too. Because now we have these guys all spawning at the same spot. They have their inputs. They're moving randomly, which is the first step of a neural network, is making them move randomly. We don't actually have the neural network set up yet, but moving randomly is a big step, because now we can kind of use that same randomness to randomly initialize the neural network instead of randomly setting the inputs to the car. So once we randomly initialize the neural network, then that neural network will be able to determine what the car should do depending on the inputs. And the inputs are the laser beams, which I don't see. Where are they? Is it because did I shut them off? Wait a minute, where did all the laser beams go? Did we lose them at some point? Our raycasts. When did that happen? I think it's just in the visual. I don't think we actually lost our raycast. I think I shut off gizmos. Oh, there we go. Cool. I was scared. I'm very scared for a second there. I thought that we broke our raycasts. But nope, they're all there. And you can see the ones that are actually showing the wall are all yellow, and it's kind of like a mesh of which ones are pointing at the wall still. That's kind of cool. I just want to see this thing get sorted again. Okay, so the scores are still, so it only did it once. That's because there weren't that many scores to sort, I bet. Honestly, I'm just gonna let this run for a little bit and then see if letting it do it a few times solves the problem. Like once the cars stop going through the checkpoints because they all either died or went through it already. I want to see if it sorted them in order. Oh, a car just got to the 4th checkpoint. That's never happened before. High score of 4 with complete randomness, and it knows it. See, high score 4. Car ID 79. Cool. Alright, so I think now we're at a safe point to pause it and take a look at our lists. Where are they? Oh, I'm looking at the car. I want to look at the canvas and see our scores. So 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. There weren't that many cars that got a 4. No way. There's no way. Something is going wrong here. And it's this right here. So car 79. I'm just going to let it keep running and I'm going to monitor what's happening here. If another 4 gets added here, that means something's wrong. We're like duplicating values. Yeah, we're duplicating values. Somehow. Duplicated. Yeah, it just keeps adding 1 to it. Alright, let me just figure this out real quick. I'm just gonna look at it, and if I don't see it right away, we're gonna work on this tomorrow. So I'm thinking it has to do with the indexing. While I is less than total cars minus 1. So total cars is 100. While I is less than 100, so 99. But 99 isn't the problem because we're moving the items to the right. You know, just for a sanity, let's change which one gets the temp score. So +1. So this is kind of like redoing it. And I'm going to say that. So since that one got the temp score, we're going to make those ones do that. Sorry, I'm not really using English. Just want to do this quick. But then this doesn't work. Yeah, that's why I did it that way. So we push everything to the right. I'll try this one more time. I might have broke it there because I didn't really think too hard while I was doing that. Okay, so this thing got jumbled up real bad. I feel like it shouldn't have. Did only one car make it this time? No. There's another car with 3. 82. Alright, we're going to check the score every second, just so I don't have to keep waiting. So every single second we're going to do this. So the scores should always be sorted now. So if we get a score, it instantly gets sorted. Almost instantly, every second. So scores have been sorted. That's because nobody got it. So it probably took a second to sort that one. This really isn't behaving how I think it would behave. Well, now I did it so quickly, I probably reversed the order of things. So now when I do the score, it's going to be swapping them the wrong way. So the other way was probably more right. Let me think about this for a second. So if we get the temp score, we fill that with the score to the right. I need like a whiteboard. Fill that with the score to the right. And then we set the score to the right to the current score and the current index. As that. Okay. And score sub I equals the temp score. That should still work. I thought that it messed things up, but it should still work. Okay. So I genuinely think this is working. This sorting is working because these ones are staying in order, except for the ones that got a high score. Except for 97. 97 just shot up the list for some weird reason. And last time it was 99 that did it. But this list isn't being sorted properly. Or when the car dies, it disappears. So one of the cars just died. Is that going to get rid of one of the scores? I'm curious if that's what's happening. I want to see one of these other cars die. Huh. Come on. You could do it. Why is this car not dying? Oops. Didn't want to move that. That car's... Oh, it's crashing into the checkpoint. Lucky car. Well, what we could do is we could just delete one of them. So if we got car 40. If I delete car 40, does that erase its score? Let's try to find it. 48. There should be an order, so it shouldn't... Wait, where's car 40? Okay, so car 40 didn't... It got deleted, but its score didn't get erased. I'm super confused why this list only sorts sometimes and doesn't appear to be telling the truth. It is lying to me. One more time, I just have to watch it. Okay, so these cars are starting. They're all crashing into the wall. Okay, there goes one. He's going. He's gone. He got a good score. He's still going. He's doing front flips. I don't know how he managed that. Okay. Okay, so when it flickered for a second and then it disappeared. What's going on? My sorting function is so messed up. Yeah, and this time it's doing that thing where it infinitely fills in all the numbers with threes. Yeah, I'm confused. Something I'd like to do for tomorrow is actually get the cameras on these cars so I don't have to keep moving around and I can open up the scene view instead to look because it looks nicer. And that way I could like click through the cars and if one gets destroyed I want it to hop to the next car. But obviously we have to fix whatever's going on here first. So let's just quickly look at our to-do list before we end stream, because I think this is the end. I wanted to fix this sorting thing, but I stayed on for like an extra 30 minutes at least, or possibly an hour. So what I want to do is tally up the scores after a set period of time. I'm not really, this is what I'm working on now, and what I need to do is sort the scores. I tried doing that. I would like to check it off, but I cannot. This is similar too. So I guess that's kind of like the same thing. That's really what we have to work on next. The next thing I was saying was the camera. I want it to be a drop-down list again, because I like to be able to close these. Like we did the checkpoints, we did the right casting. I didn't really make a racetrack, but I'll come back to that. So now we want the camera. How do I do that drop-down thing? Toggle list. Okay, so camera. And I want this to be a bullet. Okay. So for the camera, I just want to focus on a car till it gets destroyed, then switch to another. Be able to cycle through the cars and focus on the one that is doing the best if you want. So I want to have like options for the camera so you can focus on the one that's doing best. You can just click through all of them, or you just have it show a random one, I guess. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna figure out tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by, guys. This was fun. We got a decent amount done. It doesn't look like it because it's not as visual as one of the other days where we actually made the car and the raycasting, but getting the inputs to the car was very important. Now we could almost start working on the neural network next time. I think I would like to do that. I'm getting a little bored with sorting. I'm gonna cave and look up a sorting function because something is wrong with mine, or there's something wrong with the way that Unity is handling this array. That's what I think the problem is, because this array is working and the output is correct. The score is the score for the car that has the highest score, and the ID is correct. So something's working, but it's not working. I feel like this isn't working. I don't know why. But anyways, it was fun. Thank you guys for stopping by, and hopefully we could do this again tomorrow. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll get more done and not worry about sorting so much and start working on the neural network hopefully tomorrow. Well, thanks for stopping by. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. I didn't actually end stream. I ended my recording.